Spiritbox just played their biggest headline show ever in the Alexandra Palace in London to about 10,500 people. Now, that set of theirs was full of surprises, which I'll share in this review video here. But first, I'm kind of surprised that that is their biggest show so far. They're a massive band, and I would have thought they might have had bigger gigs in the States, but according to them, during their set, they said this was the biggest one they've done yet. I guess London is a very large, densely populated city, so perhaps that's why that's happened. But it was huge, and they've managed to do that in a very short amount of time since their band really started about 5-6 years ago, right? So super impressive. They did not disappoint, but we'll get to that. First up, the support bands for this gig. I was so excited for this one because there's two great bands opening up for Spiritbox at this gig. Periphery was the main support just before Spiritbox, and on first was Stray from the Path. Who I've already seen play Wembley Arena before, so I know they can handle a stage of this size. And I was looking forward to seeing them in this particular environment in Alexandra Palace and hopefully hearing a new song in their latest single, Kubrick Stare, live. Now, they didn't disappoint. They absolutely smashed through that song at some point during the set. It was about halfway through, and it was amazing live. Their whole set was fantastic. I love the fact that Spiritbox is a metalcore band. Straight from the Path is a hardcore band, and they absolutely fit in the same lineup. It made for one of the heaviest lineups I've seen recently. In Spiritbox, Periphery, and Straight from the Path, all bringing out their heaviest hitters of songs. And yeah, Stray did the exact same thing. They just ripped through song after song after song, high intensity. The sound was great from wherever I was. I was kind of front left of the audience there looking at the stage. You could hear everything. And importantly for me, all the details of the guitar work of Tom from the far right, because really that is the meat of some of those riffs that really make it work. The drums sounded fantastic as well. We had Craig Reynolds on there. He's just such a monster, and it's always cool to see him perform the actual bits and pieces live. They're so much more complicated than it sounds on first listen on record. When you see how much orchestration around cymbals he's doing, for example, or how busy some tom fills, not even tom fills, they're part of the essential beat of sections of the songs. Very cool to see that. And Drew was jumping up and down, running up and down the stage, getting a bunch of energy going in the crowd. The sound was fantastic for them, and the energy was absolutely 11 out of 10 from the very beginning. A really fantastic opener. Yeah, professionally done, but also with a bit of that human angst. And yeah, Kubrick Stare, as I said, was fantastic. They also played Fortune Teller, which is my favorite song by them. So that was a joy to see again, but a wonderful set, as expected, to be honest, by Straight from the Path. I've seen them a few times over the years in large, small venues at Download, and they have never disappointed. They're so dependably good live. And then after them was Periphery, who technically I saw once before at Download Festival, but I'd had quite a few whiskeys that day, so I don't remember the set very well. So this felt like the first time I was seeing Periphery live, and largely sober at this point. And I was so excited about it because I've really been going on a bit of a journey checking out their back catalog via requests from the fine folks on my Twitch stream and Patreon, for example. So I was so excited to hear their whole live set, and also having talked to Misha Mansour recently on the podcast, getting some details about some of the songwriting, how they feel about their live shows. I was pumped. And they did not disappoint ultimately. I think the first song or so, it took a little bit of time for the sound to get to a point where it was kind of full force and full bodied. It's tricky for a second band going on. It's largely, you're doing a line check in between the first band and the second band. So it took a little bit of time for the sound to kind of really fill out. But it didn't matter because I was still just overjoyed to see these folks on stage live in front of me playing, especially Matt Halpern on the drums. As mainly a drummer-focused person myself, watching him play was so mind-blowing. Like the technical chops that he has to have some of those things. Some of the blast beats went on for fucking ever, and he absolutely nailed them. But also the tastiness, the fluidity with which he would perform all the fills and the beats was just amazing. The man is attached to the drum kit in a very natural way. It was really, really cool to see. So I was just infatuated by watching him for a lot of that set. Hearing Spencer's vocals live was really cool as well. He's got quite a unique voice, and you really notice it live. It's kind of unlike anything else. It takes your attention. And the scream vocals in particular, I fucking adored. But there was also some wonderful melodies that he absolutely crushed throughout that set as well. The set list itself was really interesting. I knew a couple of the songs, which was great. They opened with Wildfire, which I knew they would, because Misha had mentioned that in the podcast. And that was super awesome. And they did have the jazz breakdown, but it was stripped back a little bit. They had edited, as Misha had said. I don't know why I'm surprised. But that was quite cool to see. There were... it was fucking heavy. Like, really heavy. Like, surprisingly heavy, I would say. I know they have that in their docket, but I think most of the songs that people have been getting me to react to have a lot of melodic moments in there. Also, their songs are like 10, 12 minutes long. I think they might have played 5 songs in their about 45-minute set. That's quite a thing. But it was really impressive to watch them navigate through those complicated songs. And there are moments that are kind of buried in there of kind of chuggy, genty moments with all of them just sounding like statues, really, and just kind of plugging those out. And the repetition of that and the way it looped and what the drums were doing. Matt was going off at one point doing mad drum solos while the rest of them are doing these sort of chugs. It was a feast for the eyes and the ears, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And also, they played a song, I think it was either their last one or their second last one. No, it was their second last one, I think, called Marigold, which my friend Churchill was excited to check out live. I didn't expect them to play. And I recognized that. And that was, yeah, fantastic. Really impressive. Again, the sound got good as it went on, and by the end of it, I was completely infatuated. I really enjoyed it. I had a good balance of the sound overall where I was stood in the crowd. Same kind of place as I did for Stray and later on for Spiritbox, but yeah, a wild set for Periphery. This was the heaviest moments, I think the heaviest moments possibly of the night were in sections of their songs. And it was so interesting and diverse in terms of what they were putting together. And very cool to watch. I really enjoyed Periphery. And then it was on to the main headliner of Spiritbox, which I was so excited for. I mean, you had a feeling they're going to bring out all the stops for this. They got huge LED screens. You could see the huge stage at the back, this big platform with steps that the drum kit sits atop. So like, this is going to be a whole thing, you know, and it was a visual spectacle, which I really enjoyed. Those LED screens really can add a lot to the kind of lighting and the hues of that. They had a huge curtain cover them at the start, which I always enjoy as a way for bands to start. I mean, yeah, why not? You got the silhouettes that get you excited when you can see they're on the stage for most people that are front-facing on that. And then that drops. What was really surprising to begin is they opened with a brand new Unheard song, which is a wild thing to do, especially when you're playing in front of like 10,000 people who spent money to come out all the way to Alexandra Palace, which is not easy to get to from wherever you live. And to open with a song they don't know. It's kind of exciting because you're like, ooh, no one's heard this song yet. What's it like? But it's also, no one knows where the transitions are or where the vocal melodies are or how to jump along necessarily because it's unexpected. So it's a lot of the crowd just kind of watching going, oh, what is this? It sounds good. Yeah, it does sound good. What? The chorus, having never heard it before, was kind of confusing. I'm really intrigued to hear the actual recording version of that song, because that chorus had melodies that were very surprising within it. I couldn't really fathom how they fit. So it was a very surprising choice to open with that. But I guess that's their plan for this set list, as the album's going to be out pretty soon, and they'll want to open with this song. I'm assuming perhaps it's the first song on the album? That would make sense to me, but I do not know. But it was pretty cool to hear a brand new song live, but a surprising choice. And from there, they went into less surprising choices and a lot more songs that we knew and loved, right? They obviously played the huge hits in the likes of Jaded, which at the time of watching that, I was thinking, this is a fucking Grammy-nominated song that Spiritbox put together that we're hearing live here, this huge arena, essentially. And that was a cool moment to have a gutturally heavy, badass band like Spiritbox, you know, being that kind of conversation and having that sort of attention was a really cool shared moment to hear that song live. I enjoyed that. And I'm trying to think of songs that were earlier on in the set list. We had, the second song was Cellar Door, which is another tone setter of like one of the heaviest songs in the scene that they could absolutely rip through, and that was amazing. Really, the first several songs were mostly screaming. Like, it was a show not messing around. Halcyon was also played from the Eternal Blue album, which is a bit of a surprise. Apparently that was a live debut, but yeah, that was cool. That was a little bit more melodic, I think, in places there. Perfect Soul, of course, actually was a very melodic. That was the first one that was properly singing for all of the song. Gorgeous, nice to hear that one live. The surprise, really good vibe live for me was the song The Void. Now, I liked that song from the start, but I know it got a lot of heat in the scene. People were like, it's not that interesting. It's a vibey song. And live, that one absolutely smashed. I thought The Void came across brilliantly. They played Eternal Blue. They played Circle With Me. Of course they did. It's a huge, massive hit song, but that was a joy to see live as well. The first song I ever reacted to on this channel, my very first video, was Circle With Me. So it's got a special place in my heart. Loved hearing that one live again. They also played Rotoscope and Sew Me Up and Hysteria from that EP, which is a surprise. I didn't expect them to visit those songs in particular. And everything sounded great. I talked to someone at the train station afterwards who said that they couldn't hear Courtney's voice that well in the mix, but that was not my experience. There's a thing about live gigs, the sound is not the same no matter where you stand. So if you're ever at a gig and you find that you can't really hear the vocals really well, try walking somewhere else. It can be difficult when it's a packed out crowd, I'll warrant you, but there are places like where we were stood, I could hear her vocals. Vocals? I do that sometimes. It's half voice, half vocals. Vocals. Her vocals were phenomenal. I think they sounded great. They were really high enough in the mix. I could hear everything from the screaming, but also the delicate, clean vocals as well. I thought the sound was fantastic all around. They were the best sounding band of the night. And that's what you want, really, from the headliner. That makes total sense. I don't think that was intentionally done. Every other band sounded pretty decent. Back in the day, the opening bands would sound like trash and the headliner would sound like good. That's not the case with this one, but Spiritbox sounded perfect, and the visuals were fantastic. There was pyro, there was confetti at the end. They, put a lot of time and attention into the visual aspect of it, but importantly, the sound was delivered fantastically. Now, Courtney didn't say too much during the set in between songs, but they did take a moment to address the crowd for a long section talking about where the band started and where they've got to at this point, and appreciating that journey, appreciating the fans in London who've been there from the start, for example. And then there was a moment where they took a couple people up on stage who apparently had been there from the beginning in the first London gig perhaps, or they're always at the barrier. So it was a nice moment for them to be able to see what it's like to be on stage at Alexandra Palace. But the surprise was that one of them was about to propose, which is a nice little moment. That was nice. Thankfully, the counterpart said yes. That's very important. Can you imagine if they don't? Shit. But yes, so that was very nice. Love the surprise in there. One of them at least didn't know that was coming. But geez, I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that would have been. That is a ballsy move. But yeah, otherwise, Courtney was chatting to the crowd for a little bit there, which is cool. You get a little bit of that human connection. It isn't just, we're going to go up here and we're going to perfectly perform all these songs. It's also a bit of a pseudo connecting, bonding experience between the fans and the band. So that was a really cool moment to see. What else did they play? Hysteria, Soft Spine, which absolutely ripped live. I think my favorite one that they performed though was No Loss, No Love, their latest single, which is currently my favorite song of 2025. Sorry, Manuel Gardner Fernandez, but Snow Lover is a fantastic song. But No Loss, No Love is incredible. And to hear that live was super cool. I was so intrigued to see what they would do with the spoken word bits. And actually, that was backing track. But she didn't try and mime along. She's like, yep, we're going to vibe while the spoken word stuff, because you want that to really carry through sonically in the venue, perhaps. So that was an interesting choice, but I didn't mind it. I liked the fact that she wasn't trying to make it look like she was doing it. It's like, hey, it's fine. We're going to be back here in a second for the screaming. And that was amazing. They also played the Mara Effect Part 3. Super old school one for the fans of that one. And I enjoy that era of Spiritbox, but not as much as their most recent stuff. So that was maybe the low point for me, but it's a pretty high low point. They went into then Holy Roller as their second last track, which is an absolute fan favorite. A ripper of a song. And then surprised me by bringing out an acoustic guitar on a stand. I'm like, what? I'd never seen them use that before, I don't think. And they went into their final song, which is Constance. There was no encore. That was unexpected for me. I would have thought there'd be an encore, but no. There was a continuous set from start to finish, and they ended on Constance. But it was a glorious start to that song. Which is Mike Stringer on the acoustic guitar. and then Courtney singing delicately over the top, and then it transitioned into the main song afterwards. A very kind of thoughtful and pensive way to close off that evening, and it was a beautiful moment. Also, quick mention, Josh, as ever, phenomenal live vocals. Not just backing vocals in this case, but also is it in Perfect Soul. I think he's got a bit more of a lead part in there, and did a fantastic job. So Spiritbox absolutely fit that stage. It was not beyond them. They delivered a very professional, very high impact, also very human, an interesting set list of a show with some surprises throughout that I completely did not expect. Opening with a brand new song no one's heard of before, wild. Having a proposal happen halfway through in front of your biggest gig ever, wild. Having an acoustic guitar to close with Constance at the end, wild. And having no encore, also wild. But fantastic. And even the support acts were kind of a surprise when you think about it. Like, sure, Periphery and Straight from the Path are in the heavy rock world, but they're quite different. You got prog metal, gent, and you got hardcore, but actually pretty seamless, I think, throughout that evening. Thoroughly enjoyed that whole show from Spiritbox, Periphery, and Straight from the Path. Wonderful stuff. And Spiritbox will be playing Download Festival, so I'm going to presume we'd see a pretty similar set from them at Download Festival, because you kind of want to rehearse the right things with, especially if you're taking time to put all these visuals together. It's probably be kind of similar, but who knows? I don't know. I'll probably, unless there's a bad clash, I'll go and check that out again, because that was a really impressive, very satisfying, heavy as fuck show that they put on, and I absolutely adored it.